Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be working on a commission piece, and I'm just going to very quickly go through what I did for this piece. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So the first thing I want to do is I want to give the Lazy Susan a quick coat of paint, because this is going to be the basis for the colour. So I'm just using basic acrylic paint, and I'm just going to go over and give this a couple of coats of black acrylic paint, making sure to cover the sides as well as the top, and making sure that there's full coverage. So once that's all dry, it's now time to move on to the resin. So for this I'm using Stormy Seas from Colour Obsession, and I'm also using U-Resin's Pure White. So just the two colours for this piece. As always, make sure you're wearing appropriate protection to protect your lungs from resin and other fumes and particles, and obviously wearing gloves. So the first thing I'm doing is pouring the whole of the board with the blue, and I'm going to move that around and make sure that the whole of the surface is covered with the blue. And I'm just going to apply a touch of heat to get rid of any bubbles. And this also helps with the movement of the resin, so just by warming it, it will flow a little bit easier to the outer edges. So next I'm just going to drizzle some white across the surface and then apply heat to help get it moving. And once it starts moving, you'll start seeing some of the blue starting to show through on the white, and you'll start getting some nice tints of blue across the surface. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to blow some of the blue back onto the white, and then I'll continue to move it to help that to break up. So you can see that it's starting to create some cells and lacing. Now I do overwork this a little bit. Didn't intend to, but I just got a little bit overexcited, as I normally do, and so but I'll continue with this until I'm quite happy with it. It was quite a hot day when I was working on this, and I found that the resin was just moving just a little bit too much for me, and it was spreading out to the outer edges a little bit more than I wanted. So I sort of battled with it a little bit to try and keep it in the on the board, but at the same time using a little bit of heat to still pop some bubbles. So I tried to add a touch more white here and there to try and fill some of that negative space. Now looking at it now, I probably could have left it the way it was, but because I like to play with things until they are done. Now at this point I actually burnt a little bit of the resin, so I'm going to have to go over this later with a top coat, because I end up with a little bit bubbly. Because it was warm, it started curing quite fast, so I didn't get to work with it as much as I would normally like. So I decided to add a touch more white. Now I knew that I was going to have to do another coat on this, so I just continued regardless. And normally I would try to work a little bit quicker to get what I need done, but because I knew that I was already overworking it a little bit, I just decided to continue anyway. So in the areas where I burnt some of the resin, I was actually using some of the resin that was still left in the cups to just create little dots in the areas where it was either running off or it was a bit burnt. So I was trying to add a little bit more interest to the piece, because I felt it was missing something. So I'm just drizzling small dots into the white to try and break it up a little bit and try and add a little bit of extra interest. And when this finally cures, I do actually like how it turned out. So at this point I felt that I could do no more with it, because it was actually curing now, and so I couldn't add anything else. So I've decided to leave this and come back to it tomorrow. So now that that's fully cured, it's time to give it a top coat of resin. I have sanded the surface just slightly just to give the resin some tooth to bind to it, and I'm just going to move this about and not do a great deal with it other than heat it and then allow it to cure. And I will keep an eye on it just to make sure that I don't have any bubbles, because I don't want to be adding any more resin to this piece. So here's the final piece. I think it turned out quite well in the end, despite my battling with it. The client loved it, and so that's the main thing. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, please give it a thumbs up, or better still, subscribe to my channel. I will be bringing you more ideas very soon. So until next time, bye for now.